Hey guys, welcome to the Perfectly Wasted Podcast. I'm the host, DullOxide. Today is episode 19 on gamers. You can find all my previous episodes on the Drinking Wisemen YouTube channel, as well as my bi-weekly podcast, Brew the Truth, all my day-to-day photos on my Instagram, @DullOxide. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about gamers here today because I feel like there's actually a lot of wasted potential in gamers. It's just something that I've kind of noticed. I have a lot of gamer friends that say that they can't do things for, any specific number of reasons. Most of them are complete nonsense reasons. But they say that they can't do things, they can't complete tasks, they don't have the skills to do things. And realistically, if you just treated life a little bit more like a game, which I know it's not a game, you don't respawn, you only have one chance, but some things like quests, for example, inside of games are something that you could really apply to day-to-day life. And I know it might sound like it's weird, but just like in video games, in order to get better at anything, you need to go through and gain experience doing it. And so quests are a good example of this. Usually inside of any RPG that you might play, if you go through and you're completing a quest, you're going to have to go through and complete objectives, and those objectives are going to be inside of a line of objectives to be able to complete a greater quest or to unlock a greater quest or go further from there. So like if your quest in life is to become a game designer, then you need to go out and start learning how to code. And in starting to learn how to code, you might need to start taking classes in advanced coding afterwards. And after you've learned how to advance code, you have to go and either create your own company or get hired for a company. These can all be viewed as quests, if you will. And the further that you go inside of this quest line, the higher success rate you're going to have on later quests of the same type. This applies very well to real life. If I want to become a chef, if I cook more and I start getting better at it and learning new recipes and start learning new methods and things to that effect, then I could become a much better cook. So there's a lot of different things that this could be applied to, and I feel like people are just making excuses because they don't really want to try hard. And I think that you should really challenge yourself to try to do these things because there's a lot of potential. All right. So I understand that, not everyone is a full-time gamer all the time. A lot of people do it part-time, but that's kind of the best part about it, is that as long as you can enjoy completion of something, you can enjoy completing day-to-day tasks, So it's obviously not as exciting as inside of a video game. For instance, if we were to take this and compare it to a game like Skyrim, for example, you have quest objectives that you're going to complete that are obviously going to be different from a day-to-day life objective. So you might have to go and collect 100 ghoul skulls or something like that. Whereas in day-to-day life, your objective might be like fold 100 shirts. After repeating a process so many times, eventually you're going to be good at it. And in some cases, you're going to fail. And failure is acceptable. Obviously, no one completes all quests in every game ever. It's just impractical. Usually you're playing a game to have fun. There's no reason that you shouldn't live life to have fun. But there's going to be shit that you don't want to do. In all the games that I've ever played, I'm sure there have been quests that I did not like doing. And that very much so strikes home with day-to-day life. There's shit I do not want to do all the time. But I end up doing it because I have to. In order to complete my quest or my objectives for the day, I've got to do it, And I know a lot of people feel like they're being forced into situations where they have to do things they don't want to do. And that really could just come down to, I'm going to make a lot of references to quests and things like that inside of this video. It's going to come down to you choosing a different quest line is the reality of it. Obviously, if you're trying to be a chef and you can't cook worth the shit and you've been practicing and continuously trying to hit those objectives over and over and over again and it's just not working, then maybe you should stop trying to be a cook, and try to go for something else. Everyone can be good at something, whether that's an artist, whether that's cooking, whether that's being a technician for cars or for computers, or, maybe you're somebody that helps other people, you like to troubleshoot problems, maybe you like to talk people through their issues. There's so many different jobs that people can do out there that finding something that you're good at, it's not impossible. In fact, it seems more impossible that you're terrible at everything than it is that you're good at some things. So just by going out and trying to complete these tasks that you might put against yourself, you could potentially become, whatever you want to be, essentially. Now, I'm not saying like, hey, yeah, you could go and you could become the president automatically just by trying to be the president. Obviously, there's a lot of different things, like a lot of littler quests that you have to do along the way to become the ruler of a nation. So basically what I'm trying to say is that I believe that there's a lot of potential in gamers, and, a lot of my friends that are gamers have this just giant amount of potential that they could live up to if they really just tried. And if you really just try, that you could do pretty much anything. The sky is literally the limit. It obviously is not something that's going to happen overnight. Just like in any game, there's a grind. You're going to have to go through and you're going to have to practice your skills to get better at them, to be able to complete your objectives and your quests. But that's part of life. And, if you can go and put a spin on it and start looking at it more like how video games are and seeing the benefits of it, it just makes things easier to understand for some people and can make it more exciting. Obviously, I don't treat everything all the time like it's a quest, because that can get a little bit ridiculous. But, that linear thought pattern where, let's say you want to go out and just like make cookies or something, where you go and you create a list that you need to get of items to be able to complete this objective. You go out in search of them at a store, you buy them at the store, you go back to your home and you look up the directions on how to craft these cookies, and you complete the crafting, and you go and you bake them, and they turn out either great or like shit. And just like a quest in a game that you're trying to make an item, or anything like that. There's a lot of different spins that you can put on it that can make it more interesting. And I feel like a lot of people give up on these kind of tasks before they even try, because they feel like they just don't have the aptitude for it. But the reality is, until you try doing something, you don't know that you're bad at it. It's the same as foods that you're not willing to try. You don't know how something tastes unless you're willing to taste it. So just go out there and give it a try. I mean, what's the worst that happens is that you fuck up, And I'm not saying that you go and you try and, take a quest up that is exceedingly difficult to do. I'm not telling you to go out and rebuild a car engine from just looking at instructions. I'm just saying that there are quests out there that anyone can accomplish that require very little skill in any field that you could always do. There are little woodworking projects, there are little cooking projects that you can do. There's tons of little projects that you can do that could level up your skill, make you better at something, and maybe you find something that you really enjoy, that you're good at, that you can make into a profession later in life. There's just such a huge amount of wasted potential in people. When I see that these gamers are going and sitting down for 20 or 30 hour sessions and they're completing these games, and then they complain when they have to go out and, do laundry or, cook dinner because they can't do it because they don't have the skill. I mean, in those video games that you guys play, you didn't have the skill either until you learned how to do it and you became proficient at it. And then you became a master in some games. There's no reason why you can't become a master in life. Try to do things, give it a shot. Worst case, you're going to fail. People fail sometimes. It happens. All right. So I've actually got a little quest that I have for you guys. Obviously out of my giant amount of listeners, all 20 or so of you, people are probably off the video by now, but I want to challenge you to try and do something, do a little quest, something that you might not have done before. Let's say you're really good at cooking, but not really good at sewing. All right. So go ahead and try and make something real quick. Just try and sew up like a little shirt, or try and patch some jeans or something. Let's say that you're really shitty at cooking. Try and make some cookies. There's just such a huge amount of little tasks that you could try and pick up to see if you enjoy something or you like something, that there's no reason not to try these things. Because even though it might be an easier way out to pay somebody to do it for you, or to just get something new, or to just buy a product, that's really not the best way to handle everything. Money can't solve all problems. Obviously, you have to be able to do some things for yourself at some point. Without trying, you're never going to know if you're good at something. So please go ahead and give it a try. Let me know whatever you guys end up doing. If it succeeded, if it failed, if it was fun, or if you really fucking hated it. Please let me know some way, either comment or send me a direct message. Please do like and subscribe. Thanks again for joining us. That was 10 minutes perfectly wasted.